nervous. Got it. Ha! All right. There we go. Yep. Good. Back to the Zoom meeting. The only thing is, it only shows two of us because Alberto doesn't have the video. So everyone, hello. Thank you very much for attending today's live session with Alberto, our system designer, Luis, and myself. And today what we want to do one more time is that we will talk about the new upcoming NFT product line, as we've already done it last week. But we figure that there might still be some of you who may have, some questions in their head about how this is going to work, how the NFT land sale is going to take place, how the virtual miners work, how the rewards get distributed, and especially what we get lots of feedback is that there may still be some confusion about how the APY is calculated, based on the USD value of the generated tokens. And therefore, it's, of course, great to have Alberto here with us, the system designer. As you know, Luis and I, we keep hosting the weekly webinars where we also explain these things. But of course, as you can imagine, the system designer himself, he will be a lot better yet at explaining these things in much more detail for you. However, it may still take a few more minutes for Alberto to get to his setup. So until then, what I'm going to do, let me bring up the slides right here. Maybe just go ahead and share these things as we regularly do during our normal webinars. So even though this is the AMA session, I also need to keep a look at the chat. Hello, good Friday, everyone. Yes, thank you. Our moderator, Salto Palto, he's also here with us. So if you have any questions, of course, feel free to put them in the chat, ask anything that you would like to know more about regarding Gym Network, regarding our new upcoming NFT product line. If there's anything you still don't, understand yet, this is what these AMAs are for, of course, since AMA stands for Ask Me Anything. Okay, so that's what we're here for today. But back to Zoom. Where is Zoom? Right here. Share the screen, desktop number 2, share. So while Alberto is still, getting ready with his setup, let us go ahead and have a closer look at the basic land parcels. So what I need is this, our basic land parcels. This is how we're going to get started with the metaverse. As you know, our ultimate goal is to become a metaverse. And Luis, maybe let me pass the word on for you, because you also insisted that we, include this slide into this presentation. So maybe you would like to share a few words and explain to the people, to our viewers, to our followers, what our long-term goal is, what the vision is here for Gym Network to become our own DeFi metaverse in particular.
Thank you, Timo. Thank you. So good afternoon, wherever you are. It's either in the evening or afternoon or morning. My name is Luis Mtanga, as you all know me. And it's amazing that, Timo, we started with just an idea, and the idea now is conceptualizing into a bigger and a broader vision that we never thought of. So now the vision is far much bigger than our lifetimes, because we are talking of an industry that is yet to take over for the next coming 2 or 3, 4, 5 decades. So we started as just as a website, and we started with this vision. Now we are moving to our 2D vision, where now we are starting with the NFT land sales. That is the slide that you're seeing at the 2D version. This is where we are heading to next month. in the month of August is so exciting because it shows that there is progress and there's growth, long-term sustainable project that is Gym Network. So now with the 2D vision, it's coming next month. So stay tuned and be geared for this one, because a lot of people will make a lot of money out of this, and even affiliate marketers, Timo. That's what excites me the most. The affiliate marketers too will be making money, so they will be rewarded for sharing the opportunity with other people. Then number 3, we have our 3D vision of Gym Network, the vision of Gym Network. Yes, the images may change here and there as we grow, but basically this is what you are looking at right now. This is where we are heading to become a hub that provides with the best finance products in the metaverse. Can you imagine that you will be able to make money on the virtual land, on metaverse, having that physical experience, actually virtual experience becoming real on how to make money. So on our virtual land, on our metaverse, there will be qualified avatars that will enable you, or that will take you through step by step on what you are looking for and where you can find your service. Because on the metaverse, you'll find all the crypto banks or all the crypto exchanges that you think of that are willing to be part of Gym Network metaverse. So our qualified avatars will be there to help you, and at the same time we'll have consultancy service and advisory services on the metaverse. So it's much more bigger than just making money. So there is value that Gym Network is bringing on board, putting together for an ordinary user, for an ordinary investor that will be able to make money or utilize the asset management on the blockchain services, to utilize the investments opportunity through Gym Network metaverse. It excites me because I can imagine that a newbie who doesn't know anything will be able to experience DeFi in a simplified way. So Timo, I don't know what you think, but this is far much bigger than our lifetimes, man. This is far much bigger than even my son. My son will find this service and will leave this service. So with Gym Network's vision, we are here to change people's lives long-term, sustainable, and with a reliable community or network or protocol. What do you think?
Well, absolutely the same thing. Of course, we are super excited. Every week we share our excitement about this great project that we love to be a part of, right? And it's hard not to say anything about it. The opposite is the case. You could just go on and on and on and on, because there's so many great things to share here. But what we want to do in particular today is share some more details with you about how we're going to start, what are going to be the first steps here in order to become, the full 3D metaverse, DeFi metaverse, as Luis has just talked about, where you will be able to access all these decentralized finance products and services from within a virtual environment. Because the thing is, if you look out there, about on the other metaverses that are out there, Decentraland, the Sandbox, I mean, they're all great, awesome projects, and also very exciting. However, the thing is, there's still a void that we see here that we seek to fill in, and that's the combination of DeFi and metaverse. So DeFi in itself, it's already super exciting, as it has all these great opportunities to earn great interest rates compared to any traditional finance product that you can get if you were to go to your local bank, right? But if you connect to one of the great DeFi protocols out there, such as Alpaca Finance, for example, our biggest partner that we work with together, you will find that they have much greater interest rates that you can earn for depositing your cryptocurrencies, for example. So you put your BNB that you may want to hold for the long run anyways, because you believe in BNB to even grow in value over the long term, just like its competitors, Ethereum or Bitcoin. And currently, we're actually in a great situation to start again accumulating cryptocurrency, because we're starting to bottom out. It may be going down further, but that's not what we're here for. We're not here to give you any financial advice. That's just to mention it on the side. If you are to accumulate BNB, but instead of just letting it sit there in your wallet, you can deposit into the vault. You can deposit into the farming to earn Gymnet rewards. At the same time, you can also start participating in our metaverse by becoming a virtual land owner. And if you look at Decentraland, at Sandbox, Crypto Voxels, all these other great metaverses that are already out there, what they all have in common is that their virtual land just explodes. That the prices, they're exploding. It's growing in value massively. However, they don't even have these kind of services to offer yet that we are planning to offer in our metaverse. So it's going to be very special, and it's going to be super unique. And therefore, we truly believe over the long run that we are going to attract a broader customer base that way. Those people who may not necessarily be interested in the gamified aspect itself, however, who would appreciate to experience finance in a much new way, as they have never experienced it before, throughout the visual world that we are about to create here with Gym Network. But now I suggest that we get into this part right here. So the first thing that you will see is going to be our 2D version. Like it's going to be like a flat map, just what you see on here on the screenshot in the middle. And let me come back here to find my, where is it? PowerPoint, to jump to this slide right here. So that's what it's going to look like in the beginning. You will be able to become a virtual land owner. And by the way, this is like the first step that one must take in order to be able to participate in all the future, products, and that we're, oh wait, Alberto is coming. Let me admit him. So the first step that you will need to take is to become a virtual land owner in order to get access to the future products that we're also about to offer here. The very first thing that you will be able to do from the beginning is that you can become a virtual miner next to the landowner, because what's good in owning virtual land if you can't do anything with it? So the actual value of your virtual land, where is it coming from? It's coming from the use of your land. So what can you do with that piece of land? And again, this is where we stand out, I believe, from some of the, let's call them competitors, is that with Gym Network, or it's going to be called Gym Street actually, so it will be another platform. However, these platforms are going to be linked together. They will be connected on the blockchain level in the background, even though it's two different front ends. So right here, from day one, you will get an actual use case for your virtual land that you can become an owner of. So we will have a total of 210,000 land parcels that will be available to purchase. And once they're gone, basically. They will be sold on a first come, first served basis. And we already have an automated price index implemented into our land sale that ensures that even during the initial sales process, your virtual land in our metaverse will already grow in value from the very beginning without you having to do anything particular about it. The way this works is that once 10% of all the land will be sold, the price will go from the initial price of $100 up to $113. So after 25% got sold, we're looking at $135. Then when 50%, so half of all the available land parcels are sold, we will raise the price to $183. And when I say we will raise, this will happen automatically. So it's already programmed into the smart contracts. Therefore, it's an automated price index, right? And when we're looking at 75% of the available land parcels being sold, the price will then jump to $248 until all the land parcels, so all 210,000 pieces will be sold. And the thing is, what you will be able to do with your land from the very beginning is, now on the next slide, what we're going to do is, if you look here to the right, you see our 2D map, right? So these little green squares that we see right here, those represent one land parcel that you can become a landowner of in our metaverse. And if we now zoom in to these land parcels, that's what it's going to look like. We're now looking at one of these little green squares, and each one of these land parcels has 4 NFT slots available that you can use to place our virtual miners there. And maybe, Alberto, if you're already there at your setup now, I would love for you to take over at this point, because this is especially where the our system designers' expertise can come into play now, to talk to you in particular in much more detail about how these virtual miners are going to work, how you will be able to earn rewards from them, and how these rewards will be distributed, and of course, how these APY are going to be calculated, so that you understand, you know, how the percentages, how they're calculated, and what you may expect to earn from your investment into our metaverse.
Yes, well, you were actually going in a good direction, Timo. But yeah, I can explain it also. I think looking at this image is easy enough to understand more or less what's going on. So if you see there, what we are looking at is a parcel. Okay, so all the land that will be available in the metaverse will be divided in parcels, right? There will be a fixed amount of parcels. Not like it happens in the real world. You need one of these pieces of land in order to perform your activity, right? So in each of these pieces of land, you can put, let's say, or install a few miners. The amount of miners that you can install depends on the type of miner that we are discussing here. Initially, of course, there will be just a basic miner, and each basic miner will take one slot, and each basic piece of land, each parcel, will have a room for 4 slots. So we have 4 slots, and we can put 4 pieces of mining that take 4 slots, right? So if we have 4 miners, 4 basic miners that take 1 slot each, then we can put as many as 4 miners in each piece of land or in each parcel. So with this, basically, what we are doing is, I think it's easier to understand this way if you think about it in the same way you are thinking about the vault. So if you remember the vault, in the vault, our main and highly used service, you can deposit BNB, right? So how many BNB can you put into this vault? You can think about this similarly, you know, to what we were thinking about the land. So you have the vault, and the vault can have an infinite amount of BNB on it. But of course, you don't have an infinite amount of BNB. You have maybe 5 BNB. So the maximum amount of BNB that you can put in this vault is 5. Right. So in the metaverse, in the piece of land, imagine this piece of land is the vault, and this vault, not like the vault, is actually limited. In this one, you can only put 4 miners. So if you purchase 4 miners, the same way that you purchased the 5 BNB before, if you purchase 4 miners, then you can put these 4 miners to mine in the metaverse. And when they are doing so, the same is happening that what is happening in the vault. In the vault, you put BNB and you start earning Gymnet tokens. In the metaverse, you will be mining virtual BTC via the staking of miners. But as you can see, it's pretty similar. You're basically doing the same action, but in this case, in the case of the metaverse, of course, everything is happening in the metaverse. So it's not purely financial. It also has this physical element. It's not really physical, of course, because you cannot touch it, but it's virtually physical. even if that sentence is a bit paradoxical, but yeah, it's the virtual action of staking via the mining. And what's interesting is this small difference that I explained between the vault and the metaverse, because in the vault you have infinite space. In the metaverse, this space is finite, so you only have a limited space for you to mine. If all the space is taken, then you will need to fight your way into the space to get room to mine. And then, of course, if this is understood, then the APY works in the same way as it works in the vault. If you are, let's say you are like a big player, big miner, you love to mine, you have a lot of miners because you were, one of the first people to come in, and there was plenty of room, and the miners were cheap, because there's going to be bundles that allow you to purchase more miners at a discount. So imagine you're one of these persons, and you have 10% of the mining capacity. You are like a bit main, a big miner. So 10% of the mining capacity is yours. What this means is that 10% of the rewards will come to you. So 10% of all the mining virtual BTC that happens will get to you. And because of this, of course, your rewards will be maybe higher in absolute terms than the rewards that some other person will have. But this is different than the APY. The APY, as we all know, is the same for everybody. It's just that it's not the same in absolute terms to have 100% APY over $1 than to have it over $1,000, of course, because in the first case you're getting $1, and the second case you're getting $1,000, right? But the APY is the same for everybody, the same way that it happens in the vault. So if that is understood, then what we need to look into maybe next is okay, what affects this APY. And of course, the main impact to this APY comes from the price of virtual BTC. And this virtual BTC will be very much affected by the activity in the metaverse. So the more activity in the metaverse, the higher the virtual BTC price, and of course, the higher the APY will be. And by activity, of course, what we mean is, the initial activity that will be available in this metaverse, which is going to be mining. The more people mining, the higher the APY, because the higher the amount of money that will go into the buy and burn of the virtual BTC token.
Yeah, I think we had one slide prepared especially for this purpose. Let me go over here and bring it up. Remember, we prepared these different scenarios, right? Different scenarios based on the assumption if, for example, 25% of all the land was sold, 50% of all the land got sold, or even if 100% of all the land was sold. And what I find especially interesting about this slide is that you can clearly see the difference it makes when we have the buy and burn enabled. And don't get us wrong here, it's enabled by default. So we cannot even disable it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alberto, but right. I believe the buy and burn, it's like a fixed process that's programmed into the smart contract. So it will happen no matter what. But to illustrate for you guys, to help you understand what different that it makes, we've prepared these different scenarios. And as Alberto has just said, that up here, this APY is more or less calculated based on the absolute amount. Now, when 25% of all the land was sold and it's fully equipped with miners, we're looking at 101% APY. And we assume that the token value, the token price remains the same, right? Because the APY is actually calculated based on the token value. So if you put in, let's say you purchase land and miners for $5,000, as Alberto said, that's your initial investment. And then you earn tokens worth a certain dollar amount. Your APY is calculated based on that relationship. Now up here, since we have a fixed amount of tokens that's available, that's distributed on a minute by minute basis, maybe every second, I'm not sure, but let's say it's distributed on a daily basis. So we have 25% of all the land is sold. It's fully equipped with virtual miners. And we have our fixed amount of virtual BTC as rewards that's distributed among all these participants. In that case, we're looking at 101%. Now, in the next scenario, we assume that 50% of all land parcels is sold. So we have twice as many participants. And look what happens to the APY. It gets cut in half, because we have the same amount of tokens that's now distributed among twice as many participants. So everyone only receives half as many tokens. And since the value remains the same in this scenario, because we don't have any buy and burn enabled, it means that the APY also has to be cut in half, right, Alberto?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
And then finally, when we're looking at 100% of all the land sold, the APY would even go down to 25% compared to 101% at the beginning when we looked at the first scenario of 25% of the land parcels sold. Now, down here, we have the buy and burn enabled. And this is where it becomes really interesting, because remember, your APY is connected to the value of the tokens. And because of the buy and burn mechanism, the value is being increased. And now I would love for you, Alberto, to explain this in a bit more detail for our viewers, to help them understand how this is interconnected and why actually, in this case, the APY becomes more, so it increases as we sell more land and NFTs because of the buy and burn enabled, right? So the exact opposite is the case down here. Even though you get less tokens, your APY goes up.
Right, and this is this is the effect of the buy and burn, of course, because as I said, the more activity in the metaverse, the higher the value of the token. And as I explained, activity in this case is measured by how many people is mining. And as I explained, in order to mine, you need to purchase certain equipment, right? You need to have the tools for the trade. And this every time you get one of these tools, you're making an investment. And this investment is you're doing it, of course, with the intention of getting your money back and then earning some return on top of it, right? So when this happens, when you're buying this equipment, a portion of it is used to buy what's going to be your reward. So you're basically paying for the equipment, but at the same time, a big part of this amount of money that you're paying is actually going towards a higher price for the rewards that you are going to be receiving. So if you're going to be receiving one token, it's not the same if you receive it at when the value of the token is $1 than if the value of the token is $5. So what you are doing is, when you are purchasing this equipment, a big portion of it is used to purchase the token in the market, which means that the next block, when you are already mining, the token that you will receive will have a higher value thanks to your purchasing into the metaverse. And of course, if we accumulate this for everybody, and we can see this in the slide, that as more people come in, meaning as more activity is happening in the metaverse, more money is going towards the purchasing of this token, and of course, the higher the value of the token will be.
Exactly. So that pretty much sums it up, and I would say that most people should now be able to understand, how that's interconnected, that the token value at the end of the day is what matters, and not really how many tokens you receive, and how the buy and burn mechanism affects that value to go up. Of course, these scenarios, that's also something, as we talk about them, do not nail us on these numbers that you see right now on the slides. These scenarios, they can always only be assumptions, based on or calculated based on assumptions that we make, but they're like a snapshot in time. So there's no dynamics that can go into these calculations, as we do not know the actual buying and selling behavior, how many people will hold on to their rewards, or how many participants may sell their rewards immediately, which would then, create selling pressure that goes against the buy and burn, the buying pressure from the buyback process. So all these things will then later show in reality what it's actually going to be like. But as far as I know, Alberto, these APY calculations here, you've tried to somehow factor in a little bit, as if some people were selling along the way. Otherwise, we would even be looking at much higher APYs with the buy and burn included.
Yeah, actually, I mean, making projections is always very tricky. Mm-hmm. Because as you said, I mean, imagine that there is actually 25% of the land sold, and I don't know, maybe 3 years pass, and the APY is not 611%. This could be. It could also be that the APY is 2,000%. What we're seeing here is like the most conservative possible scenario of what could happen, but still, it could be lower, in certain cases. But yeah, so I think what I would like to say about these projections is that it's very conservative, because it really doesn't make sense to anybody to just have like very, very large numbers in here for no reason, or for the reason of, because if the numbers are big enough, then people will be more excited. These numbers are the lowest we could create them. I mean, if I had used like the 100% of the rewards, we will be looking at maybe in the first case something like a 2,500% APY. In the second case, something like a 4,000 something, and in the third case, like a 6,000% APY. So I didn't want to use those numbers because those seem totally crazy. I mean, it could totally happen, but the point is that I don't think that those numbers or those estimations are going to be sustainable, over the next years, So I wanted to be like very conservative and try to use, numbers that could be more approximate to reality, or to a bad case scenario, of reality. But yeah. So it's important to make that comment, because people look at this and then maybe think, but it's not 611, it's 610. Well, it could be, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So again, do not nail us. These are scenarios based on buy and burn mechanisms only. It's hard to nearly impossible to factor in any, actual market dynamics. And also what you brought up, another very interesting point, is that we are looking at this over time, and also especially in the beginning, when we launch, the first days and weeks, there's going to be a huge run. Everyone's going to try to get their land parcel at the best price. As you know, we have the automated price index. So it may cause a lot of, buy and burn happening condensed in the first time, after we launch, and it may then become less later. However, what would happen if we were to, dump that buyback power into our liquidity pool over on PancakeSwap immediately? It would cause the price to shoot up like crazy, and then people may start selling into it, and then we would see that long green candle followed by a long red candle, and that's what no one really wants to see. And therefore, and I think we will just go over this part again until we wrap it up for today. We've also come up with the linear algorithm for our buyback process. And this is also a great thing to do to avoid what I just talked about. So instead of dumping in whatever a buyback power is generated via the NFT sales, especially at the beginning, it's going to be a lot higher than maybe half a year from now, when all the land got sold, and we're then looking at the upgrades and service things that people will also be able to purchase to keep their miners up to date and all that. But more details on those things later. So what's happening here? Alberto, again, I would love to pass the word on to you to explain to our audience how that linear algorithm works and why we believe that this is the much better solution.
Yep. So in here, I think what we can see there, what we can see there is basically a table with the estimated, let's say, estimated sales of NFTs, right? So as I said, the more activity in the metaverse, the more money goes, towards buy and burn. But of course, if you buy a miner, Timo, and you pay, I don't know, $50, let's say 10% of that goes towards buy and burn immediately. So that means that we take $5 and we use them at the moment to buy the token, of course, in the market. So what this could provoke, as you explained before, is that since most of the sales are usually happening at one specific point of time, case when we launch, this means that And this amount of money could be used to purchase a lot of tokens on day one, and then have no more buy and burn, well, less buy and burn, let's say, over the next over the next periods. And in order to avoid this, what is used is an algorithmic linear buy and burn, which means which is a very simple algorithm. It's basically the tricky part, of course, is doing this, executing this, but the order in itself is pretty simple. It's just, it takes those €5 or $5 that Timo, that derive from Timo's purchase of the end of the miner, and it takes these $5 and divides them in 12 for the next 12 months. And each month it uses whatever it is, 0.4, something like that, $0.4 or 40 cents to purchase the token in the market, which means that every month, so instead of $5 in 1 month, it will be 40 cents every month for the next 12 months. And if whatever is sold on the second month, so imagine we launch in January, we take this money from January over the next 12 months. Whatever is sold in February will also be sold over the next 12 months, which means that the buy and burn will happen from February to February, and then from March to March, then from April to April, and this year over year. And yeah, this is how we spread out, the purchasing of the token in the market, and this way the buy and burn doesn't have that crazy candle experience that you explained.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you very much for that explanation. And what Alberto just said, it's just what we visualize with the table down here. Instead of looking from January to January, we're starting in August, because that's our launch date as we've planned it for as of today. So if we get started in August with version 2, and the NFT sales will start to take place then. And for example, we may be looking at $10 million in NFT turnover, meaning there's going to be land parcels purchased, there's going to be miners purchased, or bundles, that because you will also be able to purchase them in bundles to get a discount. And just for the sake of it, we made up these $10 million in sales that we're assuming that may come in. It could also be a lot higher than that, but it's a nice round number to calculate with. If you divide that, first of all, we're looking at an average of 12.5%. That's buyback power being generated per token. So we have buyback for the Gymnet token, so that all the current Gymnet holders, participants are also going to benefit from the future products as we add them to our ecosystem. And then for the newly added virtual Bitcoin that you will actually be earning as rewards from your mining activities, in each case, we're looking at an average of 12.5% buyback power that's generated from the turnover. And we divide that by 12. So here we would be looking at 1.25 million divided by 12 means 105,000 per month. If we look at it on a monthly basis, and then the second month we make 10 million turnover again, we add another 105. The third month we make another 10 million again, we add another 105. And you can see here that already in this example scenario, after 3 months, you're looking at $315,000 buyback power generated purely by the sales activity on Gym Street, on the from the NFTs, as people are purchasing land and miners. And we keep adding month by month by month, and therefore the linear buyback power increases every month. Sorry about that, from this linear algorithm. And therefore, this is such a great thing, because we don't get these spikes up, but we get a gradual increase over time that has a lot better stabilizing effect, on the price of our tokens than if we were to dump all the power directly into the liquidity pool. All right, guys, is there anything to add here from your side? Because I believe that those are, are the things that would made sense today to talk about it in a bit more detail once more, for our community members, to help them understand how the APY gets calculated, how the NFT land sale will take place, how they get to earn the virtual BTC rewards from the virtual mining. Maybe one last thing that may still be interesting to know is what that virtual Bitcoin is actually, going to be, or what will be the benefit of it. So as you now learn that there's going to be a new metaverse currency that you will be earning as mining rewards. It's not going to be Gymnet, but as you know, the mining activity or the sales activity on Gym Street for land and virtual miners will have, a positive impact on the price of Gymnet as we generate that buyback power, but you're earning a new token as reward, which is going to be a virtual Bitcoin. So what's the idea behind that virtual Bitcoin? Why did we come up with this? And what can you expect from it for yourself in the future? So in this case, I was hoping that Alberto, you could share a few thoughts on that as well. And then I would say that's it for today.
Yeah. So as I think as we've explained through the call today, it's very clear, that the whole concept or the whole idea behind this initial service in the metaverse is the virtual BTC mining through NFTs. And yeah, I think this alone will bring the incentives, the appropriate incentives for the community to participate, and further, I think that it will also benefit the gym holders because as we explained in other times, the whole idea behind the metaverse is to bring value back to the Gymnet holders, because I don't know, for Gymnet holders that maybe listening to this and maybe thinking, okay, but what is the the relationship between this and this metaverse and all of this, which may sound very nice, but what is the relationship between this and and the Gymnet token and the Gymnet network? Well, the relationship is that this metaverse with the mining of this other token, the virtual BTC, brings value back also to the Gymnet token and to the Gymnet token holders, of course, just for the act of holding. So even if they don't do anything in the metaverse, even if they just decide, okay, the metaverse is not for me, I prefer to live in the real world, they could be benefiting from they could benefit from from whatever is happening in the metaverse, because all this activity not only brings value to the virtual BTC token, but also to the Gymnet token. So I think that's important for them to understand, because it's not that this is a completely different offering that has nothing to do with what the Gym network was doing. What the Gym network was doing, it's actually a second service. Similarly to what the Vault is and the farming contract, this is just another service that is available to Gymnet holders. Of course, it's available to other users, but these other users will not benefit if they are not Gymnet holders. They will benefit, but not in the grade or in the measure that or in the proportion that the Gymnet holders will benefit. So I think that is also interesting for people to understand, because yes, I mean, at the end of the day, Gym network was is the seed of it, and then we're talking about this metaverse, but it's important, I think, to bring it back to to the origin of it.
All right, then. Thanks a lot, Alberto, about sharing some background information on this. So, Luis, as you said in the beginning, there's so much to be super excited. My head, every time we talk about, what's ahead of us, about this big visions that we have in place here, my heart rate goes up. My head feels like it's going to explode any moment, because it's just too exciting to to compensate. All right, so let me stop sharing the screen here. I would say that let's have a quick look at the chat. Well, even if it's the Ask Me Anything session, guys, keep bringing some questions here. It's great to see. Let's rock and roll, best network. Yeah, definitely. Sweet, as Abor says. So make sure to also bring some questions. I mean, we're glad to share what we believe might be interesting for you to know. However, it's also good to see what are the exact questions that you actually have regarding Gym Network. But then that's for the next week. For today, let's wrap it up. So goodbye from my end. Thank you very much for attending today's AMA session with Alberto, Luis, and myself. And next week it will be Luis and Alberto only. So I wish you already lots of fun and excitement for next Friday. And for today, yeah, goodbye and have a great weekend.
We will miss you, Timo. Bye, guys.
We'll miss you, Timo. Bye, guys.